right. Hello, everybody. It's Blair Giffen with the Journal of Linguistic Anthropology. We are here at the AAA conference. I'm here with Ashley McGraw. I'm here with Steph Becerra Lavados. And today we are joined by Samantha Martin. We are here today with Maya. We're going to be asking her about her graduate student experiences, and we're hoping to hear some exciting things. So a big burning question that people often have for us is, why anthropology? Would you be able to tell us why you chose anthropology and what anthropology offers you that you can't get anywhere else?
So I had just done my master's in linguistics. I also did my undergrad in linguistics, which was great, fun, had a great time. But what it doesn't do as much is deal with language use, and it doesn't let you spend the amount of time in the field that anthropology allows.
Absolutely.
Which I feel like for the questions that I'm trying to answer, it really requires that time. And I really appreciate this, the anthropological perspective on how we, as in humans, organize ourselves around language and use language to organize ourselves. Yeah,
That's great.
the driving force.
I think that's really interesting that you're talking about, on one side, when you're with linguistics, there's certain things you can focus on, but it kind of seems like from what you're saying, there's a broader scope to anthropology that lets you focus on that experience.
And I really, there's a whole other set of literature also that I enjoy drawing on, that if I bring into linguistics, my professor says, yeah, I was on board with you until you mentioned Derrida or something like that. Well, here we are.
Why choose anthropology? What connects you with the field of anthropology?
Yeah, so I learned about it, like I said, in an undergraduate degree. I'd already been interested in anthropology. I was very interested in people and what makes people quirky, what makes people be friends or not be friends. And I found linguistic anthropology specifically to be a way of engaging with people and chit-chatting with people. So I fully committed to anthropology as a way to hang out with people. It's literally theoretically, someone said, I forget, maybe it was Clifford Geertz, deep hanging out is like a well-known phrase describing anthropology and anthropological research. So if you are really good at hanging out with people and you love to do it and chit-chat with them, then anthropology is the field for you. And it's my favorite thing. So
you heard it from Ashley. If you like hanging out with people, come join us in the depths of linguistic anthropology. The question is, why anthropology?
Yeah, so I always love just getting to know new people, and that's how I actually started. It was not very deep. I just love learning about how other people communicate, how other people live, how to make meaningful connections. But now that I chose something more niche in my research, I chose anthropology because I think we need more representation, and not only in Spanish, but like in indigenous languages too. And it's been a field that it's been very oppressive before, and I think it definitely has changed a lot, but there's still a lot of work to do. And our generation is also doing that right now and doing work that we are passionate about and that we are representing our communities, and we're not just someone trying to understand other people. We're trying to understand our own communities or even ourselves.
Yeah.
Honestly. And that's something that I think, well, maybe not only linguistic anthropology, but I do feel that our subfield give us particular methodologies that other subfields don't have.
Yeah.
And yeah, I chose the field because of representation.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. You heard it from Steph. Linguistic anthropology is the best subfield in anthropology. You heard it here first.
Not biased at all.
Linguistic anthropology student, you're doing this under the lens of linguistic anthropology. A big burning question that people might have is, what is linguistic anthropology in the first place? Would you be able to share maybe to you what it means to be a linguistic anthropologist?
Yes, of course. I actually had a similar question when I first started anthropology.
Yep.
I didn't know that it was an option until I was already in my undergraduate degree. But basically, linguistic anthropology to me is the study of how people use language to do things, whether that is to make friends, to figure out how to navigate a new and awkward place, to access resources like my research, to make their point across and do it strongly. Language can do a lot of things in our lives, and it's immersed pretty much in every waking moment of our lives. And so it's the ability to study what that language that is so prevalent in our lives is doing in our lives.
To you, what does it mean to you to be doing work in linguistic anthropology?
Yeah, that's a very important question to me too, and that I always ask myself that. It's a very small subfield, as you all know, but I think it's such an important subfield too, because it really allows us to look into the really seemingly non-important, trivial parts of everyday talk, which allows us to really understand bigger stuff, such as identity, how people communicate to each other, how they identify to each other, and how that also indexes something even bigger, such as structural issues. So I think it's a subfield that allows us to go from the very small parts of everyday talk to something as big as structural things. And that's something very unique of linguistic anthropology.
Where in the world has your graduate experience led you? So maybe you could talk about like your fieldwork experience and anything interesting or fun that happened.
Yeah, sure. So my fieldwork is in Santiago de Chile, and so that's where I've spent most of my time collecting data in grad school. But I've also traveled to Argentina. I've traveled to Panama for a conference for the Society of Latin American and Caribbean Anthropology earlier this year. And conferences have taken me, here we're in New Orleans right now, and different places, different cities in the US and Canada. So I've been very fortunate to be able to do that. Also, thanks to funding, I've been funded by the Wenner Gren dissertation fieldwork grant that helped me go to Chile and do fieldwork for a year and a half, and also a Belinsky fellowship, which has also helped me with my graduate studies. So
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So you've been a little bit of everywhere,
Yeah.
thanks to your graduate experiences.
Mhm.
And could you tell us a little more about like your favorite fieldwork experience?
Yes, there are so many. Fieldwork really changed my life. Probably one of the most impactful moments was actually at the very end of my fieldwork. So it was about 17 months in, and I was about ready to go home and start writing my dissertation. And I went over to I work with Chilean feminist activists.
Yes.
And so there was one elder activist who had retired a few months earlier. She was diagnosed with cancer. She's okay now, but we were worried about her. And so when I said goodbye to her, I was worried that it was going to be one of the last times I saw her. And so I went over to her house, and we were having this really cool discussion that's also related to one of my research questions, which is kind of like, how do they understand feminism? Like, what are feminists to these feminist activists? And we were talking about the difference between friends and compañeras, or fellow activists. And she said that here in our organization, we're compañeras. We're here because of political alignment. We're not friends. Maybe some people have friendships, but with one another, but like that's not what draws us together. And then when I left her house, she gave me a parting gift, which was a book that she had written, and she wrote a dedication in the front that said, "Tu Sami, gran persona, gran amiga, gran compañera," like the great person, great compañera, and a great friend. So she called me both a compañera and a friend, which was something that she had just spent an hour distinguishing between. And so I don't share this to toot my own horn, but just to say that like it really was impactful that moment, that I realized like I had made lasting relationships with my interlocutors, more than just for the sake of research, but we were both aligned in political causes, and also we had bonded in a friendship that hopefully has continued until now, and hopefully will continue for quite a while. So that was probably one of my most impactful fieldwork experiences.
That's really wonderful to hear, because I do feel like, you might get out there, and not you specifically, but just, we might be in this mindset of like, I have to complete this program and I have to do this like project or dissertation. And at the end of the day, we're working with people and we're learning about their stories. And I think that we kind of ultimately become like personally involved, and we kind of take these lasting moments and bring them with us and share them in the work. So I think that's really wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
Bueno, Steph, ¿nos puedes compartir una experiencia favorita tuya haciendo fieldwork para tus proyectos?
Sí, como mencioné, soy de segundo año, entonces este verano que pasó de mayo a agosto, fui a mi trabajo de campo por primera vez. Y en verdad mi trabajo de campo es muy especial para mí porque es en mi ciudad, es en Lima, Perú. Y es con un idioma que significa también mucho para mí, que es quechua, que es el idioma que mi abuela hablaba, pero que yo no lo pude aprender. Y recién lo estoy aprendiendo ya mayor. Y fue una experiencia muy bonita para mí porque pude hablar con mujeres inmigrantes de la sierra hacia la capital, que también sufrieron muchas experiencias parecidas a las de mi abuela, de discriminación lingüística y muchos momentos difíciles para aprender español y poder también continuar transmitiendo su idioma, que es el quechua, que es, para el contexto, es un idioma indígena en Perú. Y, y sí, fue una experiencia muy especial porque pude conectar con muchas personas que han pasado por experiencias similares a las de mi familia, que me ayudaron a aprender más sobre mi propia identidad también y mi conexión con el idioma.
Me encanta. Y una de las cosas que me encanta sobre esta carrera en particular o estos estudios son que muchas personas tienen como una conexión personal, ¿no? Como que tú te conectas con tu familia de Perú. Para mí, por ejemplo, mis investigaciones son de Puerto Rico. O sea, hay una conexión muy personal que
Sí.
we can kind of take advantage of, ¿no?
Yeah. No, definitely. And I think it goes a long way when people do research that they're passionate about.
Absolutely.
And they have like a more like a personal kind of relationship with it. And I think that's something that anthropology didn't have before. And now it's something more common. And I love that in the field.
Yeah. What is your favorite sort of course to teach and why?
Yeah, I really like teaching. I've had the privilege of teaching several different linguistics courses at the University of South Carolina. And probably one of my favorite is Introduction to Language, just like your Ling 101 basic for non-majors. And I love having a little bit of influence on some students' lives to help them understand language and culture just a little bit better, because I truly think that will help us combat the encroaching fascism that threatens all of our lives today. Just a little bit of understanding about how people communicate in different ways. So yeah, Intro to Language is probably my favorite class to teach.
Yeah, that's awesome. And like you said, I feel like the intro level is really where you get that sort of like, am I continuing this or not? And I think having those important conversations at the intro level can change a lot of people's like perspectives and kind of open everybody's eyes to things that are going on and having a platform to talk about them with. ¿Nos puedes hablar un poco sobre cuáles son tus cursos favoritos o sea, que enseñas en la universidad?
Yeah. So este semestre fue mi primera vez enseñando.
Sí.
Fue mi primera vez siendo GSI, que es Graduate Student Instructor. La clase es un 300 level, so mostly juniors, seniors. Y no sé si ya dije el nombre, es Language and Culture, and it's a theoretical class on linguistic anthropology.
Interesting.
It's with Professor Webkin, and it's such a good class because you get students from different fields, students from linguistics, linguistic anthropology, sociocultural anthropology, STEM major. You just get people from all over the place, and I get to teach them their first introduction to linguistic anthropology.
Yes.
And I think it really makes a huge impact the way you teach it, and maybe we can take more people to our subfield.
Absolutely.
But I think we're kind of known for having such technical words and that are a little inaccessible. So one of my main goals too is to not to simplify theory, but to make it simple for people to understand. And I think that's something very important to start doing as scholars and make people who are not part of linguistic anthropology understand the meaningful work that we're doing.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, it's for everybody, right? And so if you don't present it in a way that everybody can understand, then is it for everybody? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, thank you so much for taking part in the student interviews. Before we leave, if anybody wanted to reach out to you and say, hey, I want to know more, where could they do that at?
Yes. My information, if you look up my name and then the University of Massachusetts Amherst, it'll pop up there. But my email is A McGraw, so my last name, McGraw at umass.edu.
All right, Ashley,
Yeah.
thank you so much for taking part in the
Yeah.
interview. Maya, thank you so much. And before we wrap the interview, what if somebody wanted to reach out to you and be like, hey, I'm interested in hearing more about your experience? Is there like an email, anywhere they can reach out to you at?
Yeah, you can reach me at my university email, mpr55@pitt.edu.
All right, thank you so much for your time. And this is part of our grad student series, so stay tuned for more videos about Ling Anth grad student experiences. Thank you, Maya.
Thank you so much.
This is Samantha Martin at the University of South Carolina. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And before we head out, do you have any sort of like, an email people can reach out to you, or even social media, anything you'd be willing to share?
Sure. My email is sam31@email.sc.edu. Contact me with any questions. I do have an Instagram, but I don't post much, but it's at SamantHroLing, like SamantHroLing.
All right, Samantha, thank you so much for your time. We
Thank you.
appreciate it. All right, Steph, well, thank you so much for taking part in our graduate student interview series.
Yeah.
And before we wrap up, if anybody's watching this and they're like, I want to know more, I want to talk to Steph, is there any way anybody could reach out to you, like an email or anything?
Yeah, I would love if people have questions, if you're thinking of applying to grad school, or if you're an undergrad, you can send me an email. I don't know if I have to say it here, or
You can.
it's sblavado@umich.edu. Yeah, just feel free to look my name in the website of the University of Michigan. You'll find me there, and my email is there too. I'm happy to always reply any questions that you may have.
All right, thank you so much, Steph. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.